Right, carrying on about these falsified media images of the crash of G Mustang. We were just talking about this hedge line, the 20 mph sign, and how this foreground had been edited into the picture and all the emergency service personnel. Other features here are, now look at the sun direction. It's got the sun on his back, he's in shadow. Look at the height of those firemen. The sign there, that 20 mph signboard, is 45 centimetres square. If you use, and because it's beyond the fireman, it can't be 45 centimetres there, it cannot be bigger than 45 centimetres on the fireman. So you can use that as a scale. By using that as a scale, I calculated these person's height to be over 7 feet tall. Abnormally tall. I modelled the rudder, fin and rudder, and I'm 5'6", and my head came to the top of the rudder. You can see again where the foreground's been edited. It comes along here. Look, crops off all their feet, crops off the rudder, runs along, crops off the fire hose. Now, interesting, the fire hose is round. It's inflated. It's pumping water. Why? This picture could only have been taken the day after the accident, because of the shadow line from the aerial mast. The picture would predate the time of the accident on the day of the accident, so it can only be taken the day after. So why on the day after the accident you're pumping water, and why have you driven your fire engine onto a recently cultivated field, a fire engine weighing maybe 12.5 tonnes plus, and you've risked getting it bogged down when there isn't actually a concrete track running along here. Now look, behind here you see that reflective strip, that's actually the rear of another vehicle. Very short space there, that's reversed up, and it's reversed onto cultivated field. Why? It's because, as I'm trying to explain to you, these images have all been taken by the traffic accidents. If you look at the ladders, why are the ladders in disarray? They're attending an aeroplane crash on the day following the accident. They're not attending a fire in a house. This is on a pivot, this ladder. You can see here where it's been edited out. You can even see what appeared to be like the legs of a fireman where he was on the ladder. Now, a significant feature of this fire engine is you can't see the registration plate, because by coincidence, you could argue that it's coincidence that the pump door is swung over and obscuring the registration plate. You can't read the fire service. Now, here, this very small detail here, this yellow and black rectangle there, that is actually the call sign for that fire engine, and someone has edited it out, the majority of it, so you can't identify that fire engine. That's what that is there. Look, you see that yellow sign there? That's what that would have been. Now, ask yourself, what motive would the person who fabricated these pictures have to not want you to be able to identify that fire engine? If you can't identify the fire engine, you can't identify the personnel who were at the accident, can you? That is deliberation. And there is deliberation in other pictures, so that you can't identify the vehicles and the personnel. Look at the propeller there, you can see that blaze has been edited in. Get enlarge these right up to pixel size and you begin to see all the corruptions. What else have we got? There's no shadow under here where the starboard wing would be. The fuselage, I believe, is actually being suspended. I'll talk about that later. Very unusual features in here, almost like cables and things. Have I gone over the main points here? Yeah, we'll move on. I don't want to spend too much time on this. Now, all the pictures that I've shown you so far are showing these media pictures with that hedge line are at location G on the airfield farm side of the Barrendale Road. G is where the media pictures are depicting the aircraft crashed. M is where the accident investigation branch say the plane crashed. Now, some of the early pictures indicate to me that it actually crashed at location Q at the end of the old Hardwick runway. Now, these were the first pictures that appeared on the internet. For a long time, there were no pictures at all, and it caused quite a lot of speculation. immediately this picture, something's very odd about it. Now if you have an image and you put it on your computer and you skew the angle, it squidges it and it puts it all out of proportion. Something's gone on here with this. Now what I immediately noted was that features on this bank, look at this unusual feature here, you've got like vent pipes here and this tower, they didn't appear in later pictures. What I did, I went on to Google Street View, went down the Barrowdale Road towards the old wartime Hardwick airfield, windsocks there, and down here I picked up that exact same shape of that very unusual object. It's actually the gates of the old wartime Hardwick airfield. Now, I believe that these first pictures are actually on the other side of the road. There was another picture that appeared and it showed a building behind. And the only buildings are on the other side of the Barrowdale Road. That picture has now disappeared from the internet. I can't find it. Now, this picture here, see this pointed object here, you've got to account for everything. Is there anything yellow and pointed on a Mustang? There isn't. That's actually a traffic cone. Now, someone realised that someone may recognise that as a traffic cone because another picture came out, a slightly edited version of this one, and now it's changed shape. It's been cropped. If you enlarge that on your computer, you'll find those corners are perfectly square. Someone's cropped that to disguise it. You've got fuzziness in here where someone's been edited out. Look at the height of the farming again relative to the rudder. And the scaffold tower, whatever tower it is, appears to be approximately on the bank in that picture. Look, it's behind the foliage, even in that picture. But now, look, it's been very subtly edited, and it now can be attributed as being adjacent to the fuselage. Right, we carry on this video. I don't want to spend too much time on this. Right, the same image has been used for all the pictures. Look how the rudder's numbers are blurred here. So every time someone took a photograph of that aircraft, they were unable to focus their camera properly. And they took it from exactly the same angle and from exactly the same height, etc. and at exactly the same time, because the shadow from the aerial mast never changes. But look at the tarpaulin position, it changes. You can see in this picture a sudden change in darkness here. You can see where this has actually been edited in, all of this tail section. There's no detail, and if you look here where the balance is on the pivot point for the rudder is black, well, light doesn't work like that. That has been edited in here. Look, you can see, because as I said before, I suspect that was all torn off. That's another view of the airfield fire sign. Remember the 20-mile sign? Look, the bank there. This is in winter, so it's easier to see. Look where it's coming in, the position. Remember, the bank was in the wrong position. Right, we're going to run out any minute. It's important for you to see. This is all the information that's presented to Norfolk Police, Norfolk Fire Service, Air Accident Investigation Branch, etc. So I do want you to see what was presented to them. Going back to the Air Accident Investigation Branch report, we were told the aircraft was banked at 60 degrees when it hit the tree. I modelled that 60 degrees set square. If it would have been at 60 degrees, it would have actually torn off the undercarriage leg from the left-hand wing, and it would have ripped off the fin. And the blades would have struck at that point there, so they'd have been severely bent back, and the damage would have been different. That's a Mustang that belly landed. Look at the scratching on the blades. All the yellow tips have gone, haven't they? The propeller, that's the AAIB image. This is an image from the Mark Bullimore picture. We'll come to that in a minute. Look at the propeller blades here. Completely different configuration. Right, running out of time now.